Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lorelei Shamayo. This is MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness Fairs for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and online, and we interview our practitioners and vendors, so you get a chance to know who we are before you meet us at an event. I'm excited today to interview Michele Noble. Michele, it's lovely to be with you.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Great. So what is it that you do? What do you offer at our events?
I will be offering Access Consciousness bars sessions, and I have been an Access Consciousness practitioner for about 8 years. Before that, I was a massage therapist. I still do some body work. I'm a craniosacral practitioner as well. So that background really informs how I work with people. And I've done a lot of different things, as with probably most people who will be watching this video or would be at the events. I've been a lifetime learner, a seeker, always knew that there was something else possible, something greater out there, that life could be more fun, more joyful, and yet didn't know how to get there. And also I asked myself a lot of times, many times, if I could, if I could just be satisfied, maybe I could finally be at peace or be happy. But I'd look around at other people in my life, and they seem to be happy to just be working their jobs and doing their thing, get up in the morning, do their thing, and I was always hungry for something more than that. So I judged myself or questioned myself a lot if there was just, maybe I was just asking for too much. So when I found Access Consciousness, it was the first time that I was able to really immerse myself in a community of people who also knew that there was greater possibilities, that they were available, and actually were able to provide me with tools to move in that direction. So I guess I loved it. And so I dived in and have really basically changed from doing much in the way of massage to these access tools, including what I'll be offering at the fair, which would be the bars sessions.
Yeah. Well, so it sounds like you felt a yearning, and you're generally more of like a seeker. And then this is the thing that you ran across, finally found that really connected for you and really had the meaning and was the avenue for you. Is that?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I'm always fascinated to see how, there's so many possibilities, and people find what works for them. And it's, different things is what I'm trying to say. Different things work for different people, resonate, hit that heart spot for different people. And this has definitely been the thing for me.
Great. Well, tell us a little bit about bars, because some people won't know. And then also, if there are other things, I know Access includes a lot of other things too, Access Consciousness. Go ahead and tell us about all the different things that you do with people.
Okay. Well, as you said, so Access Consciousness has been around for about 30 years. And the founder of Access, Gary Douglas, he about kind of the story is, or the birth of the bars is that he was already doing some channeling and psychic work. And he had begun to ask, and this is one of the basic tools in Access, what would I actually like my life to be like? What would I like it to feel like? What would I like it to just be like? And so then one of his clients that he channeled for called him up and said, I'd like you to channel for a massage therapy session. And, once Gary understood a little bit more about what he had in mind, he asked, so does this actually match the energy of what I'd like my life to be like? And it did. So he flew across the country to New York to do this, to channel during this massage session. And the information he received were the bars. And what the bars are, there are 32 points on the head, and each point corresponds with areas where we tend to have a lot of points of view and judgments and struggle and stuck energy. There's a point for money and for healing and for body and sexuality, joy, sadness. And so it's really very, very simple. Just by holding those points gently with a light touch, or a touch that the body can receive. Some people like more pressure, some less. It dissipates the electromagnetic charge in the body around those judgments and stories and traumas and histories and all the stuff. And so then there's actually space for something new to show up and be created. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. I think that gives a really good idea, like where it came from, and then also what it's like, what it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so at the fair, Yeah, so at the fair, people have the opportunity to choose to have a session, and we'll be doing shorter sessions there. I'll be doing shorter sessions, but it's amazing how quickly it can create this kind of lightness and space in someone's world where they're asking for change. And then like if someone came to a full office session, it would be more like an hour or an hour and a half to actually go to all the points and give the time for that to unwind and clear.
Right. Great. And access consciousness includes other things too, right? In addition to the bars, is that?
Yeah.
And then so do
Yeah,
some of those other things also in private sessions?
I do. Yeah. So there's a lot of other body processes. We call them body processes in access. There's a lot of them that get at different energies or different. For instance, there's one that's particularly around clearing where we're imitating, like imitating people in our lives, like maybe we had a parent who was angry, and so we struggle with either being angry or trying not to be angry. In either case, that's sort of sticking us. And so there's a body process that's particularly around clearing that kind of imitation we do to try to figure out how to fit in. And there's one there's one that can be included with a bars session that is around clearing trauma, which is amazingly effective. They've used it with combat vets and people who've been in, serious car accidents or raised in abusive situations. And it's amazing how something so simple and gentle just creates this space where something that seemed insurmountable or unchangeable almost starts to become irrelevant.
Yeah.
So you don't forget it necessarily, but it no longer becomes this persistent force in your life.
And what are?
So those are some of the things I could. Yeah, I'm sorry. I could include those in a deeper, like a private session, as well as the heart of access is empowering people to know that they know. So an access consciousness facilitator, whether you worked with me or there's a number of really amazing facilitators around the Puget Sound region, is about asking a question. So if you're doing a session with someone who's an access facilitator, they're not going to tell you what you need to do to fix your life.
This is what I was going to ask you, is like, what's the process of discovering like what to work on? Go ahead.
Yeah. So, someone might come into a session and I might ask them, so if you could get anything out of this, what would it be? And however they answer. And then I also am looking at the energy. I'm kind of perceiving the energy of what's going on with their ask and behind it and in front of it and in all directions. And I'll get a hit kind of like, oh, okay, what is this? What's the judgment that's really holding this in place? And so then, that might be a question in itself. Okay, so what's the judgment that's holding this in place? Or, if you didn't believe that, if you hadn't decided that was true, what else might you know about this? And so it's a very much of an exploratory question asking process, but then we also have these like really cool things that we can do and say, the hands-on stuff. There's something called the clearing statement that function to clear the energy. So it's not like the person has to have a cognitive understanding of why they haven't been able to change their money situation or they're fighting with their daughter all the time. They don't have to get all that cognitively, which makes it very different than talk therapy, even though it involves conversation and questions. And it also can be, in my practice, I actually work with, I get a lot of referrals for mental health practitioners, and it's just a beautiful adjunct to that because they're doing the deep talk therapy work with their counselor or therapist. And then when they work with me, it includes their body, it includes the energetic side of it. And it really is amazing how I've seen people change over a matter of months to just have so much more lightness and choice.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think I'm just from some of like the way I understand people, it's like, it's a discovery of what they're ready for and what they're really open to be able to allow change.
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautifully put, Lorelei, because it's even if I perceive something and even if it was part of what was going on, if that's not where they're at, it's not going to be useful. It's not even going to be kind to go like based on my point of view or what I'm perceiving. It's going to be much kinder to be aware of where they're at and what can change and what they're asking for. and then explore that, and then it can unfold from there. And I'm no, I don't know how someone else's life can be. I don't know what they're choosing and creating. I don't know what their what it is that inspired them to choose to have a body at this time in this place with the family that they had, with the people that surround. I don't need to figure that out, and I don't need to tell them. But where am I? Sorry, where am I going with that? Just that me telling them what I think they should do would be like, who the heck do I think I am to tell them what they should do, right? It's their life and their creation, but I can certainly say, hey, these are some colors on the palette that you may not know you could be painting with.
Right. It's great, like for me too, to see how your intuition as a practitioner really does flow in with what the person's bringing, because while there are some questions it's really clear that that you might ask, you're also listening and following the energy that you do perceive and what questions you ask. And then it's really the person's readiness and how they respond and whatever they bring up on their own, right? So such an open-ended approach of whatever they bring.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, if people want to connect more with you, learn more about you, where do they find you?
So I work with people from all walks of life, but my special passion is working with moms in pregnancy, or new moms, kind of that place of choice and transition. And wow, that was way different than I thought it was going to be. And that is because when I mentioned I've been using the tools of Access for about 8 years, it was just literally the day before my second daughter was born was when I went to my first Access class.
Oh, wow.
And then I got to see how that created as a parent and my relationship with my kids, compared to how it was the first time around, where there was so much more struggle and self-judgment, and really thinking that if I could just get this right, it would be easier. And since it wasn't easy, it must be that I was getting it wrong, that kind of point of view. So that's a long way of saying that my website is calmermom.solutions. So Calmer Mom is all one word, calmermom.solutions. And if you go to the events page on that, I usually have classes listed or upcoming. I do some teleclasses as well as in-person trainings. People can learn to run the bars. It's like I said, it's really quite simple. There's a day-long class, and it's amazing to see, like, if people have someone where they can, maybe like a couple or a friend, where they could take the class together, and so then they can do trades prenatally, like a pregnant woman or pregnant person and her birth partner or a friend, so that could be something that was part of the pregnancy process. It's really amazing. And so they could take a bars class together, but it doesn't have to be that. You can just take a bars class if it's just you, and then that helps you also tap into, there's a community of people who do trades around the region. Yeah, so I'm also on Facebook under Noble Steps Healing, which is kind of the not mom part of my business, is another place that I can be found. So yeah.
Great. Well, lovely. It's been great chatting with you. I get to know so much more about Access and you and their practice, and sounds like it's going to be great fun for people to be working with you. I'm excited.
Yeah, I am so excited to do the fair, to do the MeWe fair. It's an amazing creation that you've bring to the region, and so that like I said, I'm super excited about that. I also just mentioned that anybody who, if you go to the website, you can actually sign up for a free personal consult, just to see, like, to learn more, to tell me more about what's going on with you, and see if it might be a good match for whatever someone is, where that question, if you could get anything out of this, what would you like your life to be like? And see if maybe working with me or the tools I have to offer would be a way to get there. Or if not, I'll tell you that too. Like, I only want people to work with me if it really resonates for them the way that it resonates for me. And, if not, like I said, there are so many ways to create change. So then they know they can find someone who that would be their person.
That's great. And say the name of your website again too, so people can find it after hearing that.
Okay, it's calmermom.solutions.
Great.
And all are invited, mom or otherwise.
That's great. Thank you so much, Michele. It was lovely connecting.
Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Great. And for all of you listening and watching, you can find out more about all of our events at mewefairs.com. That's MEWEFAIRS.com. Thanks, Michele.